Welcome to my channel, Know and Awaken Your Soul's Unlimited Potential. I'm Eva, and today I want to share a profound insight about how your intentions actually do shape your reality. And I'm going to start off by sharing an analogy about how, have you ever asked yourself the question, how is it possible that on one piece of land, a farmer can actually get an output of different varieties? He can get an avocado, he can get a banana, he can get cucumber, he can get kale, right? From one piece of land, right? The only thing that determines the output that the output that the land gives the farmer is the seed that the farmer planted into it originally. Meaning that there's no way that a farmer can plant an avocado tree and expect to get a banana in the end, right? If he plants an avocado tree, he will get an avocado tree. If he plants an apple seed, he will get apples in return. If he plants kale, he'll get kale in the end, right? So there's no way that he can plant kale and expect cucumber. There's no way he can plant an apple and expect mangoes on the other side. It's not possible. And this is basically how intentions work, right? Your intentions shape your reality, meaning that the intention that govern everything that you do is what actually shapes the outcome or the output that you will receive from that thing. It is not possible for you to say something and expect something different in return. Okay? So more into that later. The second thing I want to talk about is the fact that, assuming now again on this piece of land, the farmer made the decision to only nurture one plant and leave aside this one. Meaning that he decides to nurture maybe the apple seed and give it all the attention it needs. Give it the soil, the right amount of soil, the right amount of water, fertilizer, expose it to enough light, right? Like really nurture it, right? And then to another plant, he decides, you know what? The plant can sort itself out, does not nurture it in any way. In the end, what kind of harvest is this farmer going to reap, right? The plant that he actually nurtured is the plant that will actually give him the kind of reward or the kind of output that he actually expects from it. But the one he did not nurture, because he did not give it attention, he cannot expect again for this thing to give him the kind of output that he expects for himself, because he didn't put in the work that he needed to put in there in order for the plant to grow and mature and give him the kind of output that he wants for himself. So why am I talking about this, right? A lot of people, especially right now in the world, it's even right now, if you actually do go and do a deep reflection yourself, I want you to ask yourself this question of, if I want to be loved by the people around me, what kind of seeds am I planting to make that happen? Meaning that you cannot be waking up and deciding to remove your frustrations, remove your anger or whatever with the people around you, and then expect that in the end that they're supposed to love you just because. It's not possible, right? Everyone wants to be loved. But if you're not actually intentioning on putting those seeds, planting those seeds of love, you're never gonna reap that kind of love that you want for yourself, right? If you're constantly reaping hate or sowing hate, anger, frustration, jealousy, all of that, what you will reap in the end is more of that, right? So you cannot reap this, sow this, and then expect to reap love and compassion and understanding for other people. That's not how the world works. So the intention behind everything you do is what determines the outcome. And I want you to look at everything in your life in that way. If at all you want to reap something that is super beneficial for you, you have to actually sow that which you expect. That's the only way you'll get the kind of output that you want. Second thing is about also nurturing. So if you're constantly nurturing all these emotions or all these states that really do not serve your highest being, guess what you're going to sow more of, or what you're going to reap more of? You're going to reap more of these things that you've been nurturing. So there's no way you can put all your energy, all your focus on creating a reality that you don't want to have in the end, right? So if you're constantly putting all your emotions and anger and so much energy towards a situation that does not serve your highest good, and you're nurturing it like that, in the end, what you reap is whatever you put in, right? Because that is what you nurtured. But if at all you're not nurturing those states that you want to embody on a daily basis, happiness, joy, love, compassion, and all that, then you will never reap that, right? It will never actually grow into maturity. It will die off. And this is also how I want you to look at the world right now. There is no way right now that we can expect to reap love and compassion and understanding if whatever we're actually putting into the world is anger and jealousy and all of that, right? It's not possible. All the time, if you're constantly giving into the negative news that we see on social media or news and all of that, and getting angry and getting frustrated and all that, and those are the seeds that we keep on sowing, and sowing more hate for each other, more people just trolling each other and sending all these kind of nasty comments, and then you sit down and expect the world to be different in your environment or even in the world in total view, right? It's not possible. You reap what you sow. So you really have to ask yourself, what is it that I want to get in the end? If at all I want this person to change, if at all I want this situation in the world to change, what seeds do I need to now start planting in order to reap more of that? Okay? Now, also looking at the analogy of everything comes from one source, right? If you're looking at the farmland, right? The farmland that has given you the apple, the cucumber, and all of that, right? It's all one land, right? Now, coming into how we're designed from a soul perspective, we all come from one source. All of us are the same. All of us come from the same source, right? But what actually gives us those differences, we're created differently, right? But you'll also find that there are certain apples, right? That fine, it was an apple seed, two apple trees or two apple seeds that were planted, but the output, you'll find that one apple will not be the same as the other. And they all come from the same plant, right? Or they all come from this one type of seed, but they all give different outputs, different apples in the end. And why is that? Okay, so I'm not going to talk about how nature goes about, but there's so many factors that can actually determine the kind of apple you get in the end, right? So many factors that can determine that. So if maybe one particular apple didn't get enough of a certain kind of mineral, maybe it might end up tasting differently from the apple that actually got that mineral. If one apple did not receive the necessary amount of light in order for it to mature, then you'll find that it might taste differently from the apple that actually received the necessary amount of light. Yeah, exactly, right? So in the same way, right, we all come from the same source. We're all the same on an energetic soul level. We're considered to be the same, right? No one is above the other. Our differences might come about in maybe how we were given different gifts, which is the work that I do with Akashic Records, where I actually help you determine your soul identity and identify your unique gifts that you're supposed to leverage to create your human experience. So maybe that's where the differences come in, okay? But also you might find that I might be gifted in, let's say, communication, and you might be gifted in communication. But funny thing is that how we communicate in the world, it's never going to be the same way. There's going to be a difference because our lived perspective is so different. The experiences that you have had in your own life are never going to be the same as mine. Meaning that when I'm communicating and how I'm talking, it's based on basically the reality that I created around me, based on my belief system, right? And also based on the lived experiences that I've had. That is what will determine what I basically share with the world. And same with you, right? So in that sense, we're all different in that way. Okay, so can we live in a world where we accept that, yes, we all come from the same source, but we're never gonna be the same because our own lived experiences, our own perspective will always be uniquely different because we've all lived very different experiences, and also how we perceive those experiences can also differ. It could be that we were brought up in the same environment, exposed to the same number of things, right? But how I responded to it and how you responded to it are different because you're different, right? Right? We can't all react the same way. I mean, you will see the example of this in the fact that, people from the same family, you'll find that one is a serious alcoholic, one is a very successful something who actually doesn't drink alcohol. But they're all brought up in the same household with the same parents and the same kind of resources. So what actually happened? It's because one decided to see the world in a different side, right? And decided maybe to take their experiences and decide to wallow in those experiences. And one of them used those experiences as a fuel to push them out of that environment. So we all react differently based on basically who we are and how we choose to respond to it. So that's how I want you to look at it. That number one, and this is the end of the video, so I'm just summarizing everything. We all come from the same source, and it is possible for all of us to be the same and different in the same aspect, meaning that basically our experiences is what determine, or basically the choices that we make is what determine the kind of reality that we create on the outside. That's one. Number two, it's the fact that your intentions behind everything govern the kind of reality that you will experience in the end. So if at all your intention is to receive more love, and that is how you face the situations in the world, that's how you show up in the world, you're gonna get more of that. But if your intentions are one of, I want to hate that person, you cannot hate on another person and expect to get love in return. That is not how the world works. You reap what you sow. So if you want to get more of love, you have to sow more seeds of love. How you show up for yourself and how you show up in the world, right? And also, if you want to also see the world change, we cannot keep on feeding or nurturing those emotions that we do not want to see of. Like, we don't want to nurture the emotions of racism, the emotions of hatred, of anger, of fear, and all of that. I'm sure no one wakes up and decides that I want to be angry at that in the ideal world, no one wants to be angry at another person. They all want to live a happy and peaceful life, right? Where they're free to do whatever that they will or choose to do. Everyone wants that kind of freedom for themselves. But here is the thing, right? We cannot keep on giving into that and sowing more of that hatred, whether it's justified or not. And then in the end, we expect to have a world united and filled with peace and love all around. It's not possible. Again, we will reap what we sow. So if at all we are sowing seeds of hatred and anger and justified all of this, we're always going to get that reflected back to us. But if we sow energies of positivity, of compassion, of understanding, we're going to reap more of that in the end. And if we nurture those energies also, we'll reap even more a bountiful harvest of those kind of energies, the positive kind of states that we want to embody. So I hope this message inspired you to act differently going on. So always ask yourself, what is it that I want to reap in the world? And then sow those kind of seeds, that will give you the kind of output that you want, okay? So share with me your perspective on this down below. I'm always curious to hear from you. And to say thank you so much for tuning in this far, I want to share my gift to the world, which is right now to actually help people cultivate those inner states of calmness and serenity in their life, because a lot of people are struggling with stress and anxiety and disappointment and all that. So I designed a beautiful meditation to help you tap out of those negative states of emotions and tap into finding inner calm and inner serenity within yourself, because all change starts from you. So if you're curious about this is a meditation that only takes a couple of minutes. So you can check out the link down below in the description box. And also, if you do like the kind of content I share out here, make sure that you subscribe to my channel and also click on the notification bell that's next to the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any weekly content I share out here. And just to end my video, I do work with the Akashic Records with the modality called Soul Realignment, which is all about helping you identify who you were created to be, who are your soul identity, because you're not just this physical body. There is more to you than this physical reality that you're living in, right? In the last video, I talked about how everything is an illusion, including your physical body. But who is behind this illusion that we create in the world? Your soul. And with soul realignment, you actually get to the root cause or the root of who you were created to be, right? First of all, you identify your unique gifts that you're supposed to leverage to create a better human experience. You get to measure where you currently are vibrationally. Where are you receiving your guidance from? Are you still identified at the level of the mind, or are you actually higher, in a higher dimension, and actually receiving guidance from your soul self, your higher self, right? And the third thing that you actually determine that soul realignment reading is your soul story. So in this soul story, you actually get to go back to a particular past life that's where you started creating or making negative choices that are still affecting you currently, meaning that you're still making the same choices you made in the past currently, and they're causing all of this chaos and all of these experiences that are showing up in your physical reality. So if you actually want to get to the root cause of the kind of experiences that you've had in this lifetime, and actually get to know how you can stop all this negative experiences from occurring over again, but actually assuming responsibility for the choices that you make going forward, you can actually discover that in the soul alignment reading. And the last thing is that you actually get to clear all this karma that you've collected both in the past and present, clear it all, get you back into a new slate, so that now you can start creating a life based on who you are now. And with that awareness, now you're not going to make the same mistakes that you made in the past, right? You're going to be creating more of what you want and not being a victim of your past circumstances. If you're curious about this, you can check out the link down below in the description box and book a reading with me. If you have more questions on this, you can book a discovery call with me. Just a short video. You can ask any question you have of me, or you can connect with me on Facebook and Instagram and ask any kind of question you have through a DM, okay? The last modality I do work with is quantum flow, which is where the meditation is based on, right? So quantum flow is a powerful methodology that actually combines a lot of techniques, right? It actually uses breathwork, sound, and movement to help you rewire your nervous system. So a lot of people are not aware that a lot of the experiences that they've had in their life, they're actually recorded within your body, right? And most people focus on only working on their mind and rewiring their mind, but they don't work on their body, meaning that they will spend so many years working on their mindset. And sure, that might work, right? It might eventually work, but for most people, it normally takes a longer time for that to work, right? Or sometimes it doesn't even work at all, because they'll always keep on getting triggered by their past experiences because they haven't rewired their body yet. So quantum flow actually solves that for you. It gets all the energy that's blocked within your body, because this experience has actually blocked the energy flowing in your body and keep you stuck in those vibrations, those negative vibrations I've been talking about in this video. So if you constantly feel like you're struggling with stress, anxiety, and angry at the world, and just feeling all this kind of negative emotions on a daily basis, there's a reason for that. If your energy is stuck there in those lower chakras, you'll never be able to make any kind of progress in the external world. And quantum flow actually helps you unblock this energy, get it flowing again, so that you can actually tap into higher states of being. You can tap into higher states of being in your physical, your mental, your emotional, your spiritual well-being. The beautiful thing about quantum flow is it actually helps you connect with your real self, your true higher self, your soul, and helps you connect to your divine guidance, so that you can be able to navigate the world in a better and easier way, rather than making all these mistakes that you've been making in the past. So if you're curious again about this, maybe you have more questions, you can book a discovery call with me down below in the description box, or go ahead and book a session with me. I'll be happy to see you on the other side. For now, I'm thanking you so much for tuning into my channel and supporting me thus far, and I hope I will see you on the next video. Bye for now.